Subscriber Q&A time. What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing our weekly subscriber Q&A, where we pick out some questions and comments from around our various socials and give them a platform here on the channel. And this week we have quite a bit to talk about, as we did have that 9.13 update that came out just yesterday. And there's a few talking points in there that are worth mentioning, so we're going to get into all of that and more in today's video. But first, before we get into all of that, make sure if you guys are new here and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get into this week's weekly subscriber Q&A. And we're going to go ahead and start off with a weekly poll that I did over on my community tab. And over 500 of you have voted on this thing in less than 24 hours. So big shout out to all of you. But as you guys can see here, the question was very simple. How would you rate the new King of Fighters All-Star update for the 9.13.21 update? And as you guys can see, it is a landslide in the positive direction, as we have 19% of you voting for excellent, 56% voting for good, and then a combined 15% voted for bad or hate it, with 10% of you choosing no opinion. So this is pretty interesting to me, because usually these updates are kind of going to splinter the community in a big way, but as you guys can see here, at least from what all of you all indicated, this has been a largely positive update. However, there are some issues that did come out of this thing. As always, right? It's Netmarble. There's always going to be a new bug if there's new update, and it would appear as if the infamous slow-mo bug has returned. A ton of you guys have been reporting this thing, and I myself have also been experiencing it. Now, of course, if you've been playing the game for any discernible amount of time, you will probably be familiar with this bug, as it has been around before. Hopefully Netmarble gets around to fixing it sooner rather than later. My assumption would be that they probably aren't going to get around to it until around that 9.28 or 9.29 update that we're all expecting to coincide with a lot of this content going away. But we'll have to wait and see. Right now, my best advice to all of you guys out there, especially if you are someone that invests a lot of rubies into extra runs in Absolute War, would be to go ahead and use as many Akane sets on your teams as humanly possible, just to assure, just in case, if you run into those lag spikes or that slow-mo bug, that you'll at least have that windfall with that save on the Akane set, and that'll probably help you out quite a bit. I've run into that numerous times over the past 24 hours playing Absolute War. It's not the only mode that I've noticed this bug in. However, it is one of the more annoying ones, because it is costing you rubies to play those. So it is what it is, you guys. I figured I would just go ahead and throw that tip in there as an aside, because I'm not the only one that has experienced this with Absolute War or otherwise. So you gotta do what you gotta do, just push through it, they'll eventually get it fixed. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the comments and questions. And our first comment comes our way from Hatham Beyond, who says, Theo, can you do a video about the best characters to build without collaboration SS or BS characters? Because a lot of players don't have them, I'm one of them, and it will help us out a lot, so good luck, bro. Thank you for the comment, Hatham, and actually after you had posted this, I got to thinking about it, because I could have sworn that I did a video like this, and it turns out I was mistaken. I have not done this video. I've done ranking videos and other videos out there in the past on this channel, but I have not done this particular one. So I will go ahead and get around to that. Hopefully maybe in the next week or so I can get that video out to you guys. We'll have to wait and see. That one's going to require me to do some thinking, but yeah, I can definitely do that for you guys. Thank you for this comment, Hatham, and stay tuned. And this next comment's from Andre Nusa, who says, I'm kinda mad with Netmarble for making the episode 2 stones be random and not a selector, and we need to wait for 7 months to 5-star EQ BS characters. I think Netmarble needs to put SS or BS banners in the United banner after their banner ended, maybe wait 1 month. Thank you for the comment, Andre, and as far as the point that you make at the end of this comment about them adding BS and SS to the unified banner, as much as I think we would all agree that that would be amazing, I definitely do not see as a business Netmarble deciding to do that, just because these are obviously going to be where they butter their bread, so to speak, so I don't really necessarily see them doing that. However, when it comes to your point about the stones, which is the reason why I picked this comment, because this is something that we haven't necessarily talked too much about here, I completely and utterly agree. I do not understand what the idea is behind making these random. I think that it would have been far superior if they would have just decided to, hey, let's go ahead and just make these selectors. I don't really get the idea behind that. I understand that maybe they just want us to grind this thing and they want to prolong the longevity of Epic Quest Chapter 2. But at the same time, it's a bit annoying. Now, one nice thing about these characters being BS characters is you can always use those BS stones from your limited banner BS characters for these characters from Epic Quest, and I do think that that would probably not necessarily be a bad idea considering how good that new Zero is, much less that Ignis, which I doubt anybody really has yet. So yeah, I completely agree on this point, but I did want to point that out, that you guys can always go that route with your stones if you want to do that. Otherwise, you can always go with your R stones. Now, I get that those BS stones from the Epic Quest are going to be really, really good, but at the same time, beggars can't be choosers. If your luck is just not there when it comes to those random boxes, you got to do what you got to do, and you're still going to be in a good position regardless. So yeah, there's nothing we can do about it at this point. We're just going to have to make the best of it. At least we have other options, but I do agree, Andre, and again, thank you for the comment. And this next comment is from Captain Munta, who is one of my VIP members, so big shout out to Captain Munta. But this comment here says, Unified Banner is a little sad now thanks to BS and SS. I reckon if they made it so the Unified Banner's pity you could choose between a Unified Banner character, generic BS, or SS, then you'd have a reason to grind on it or close it out during or post collab SS or BS banner. Thank you for this comment, Captain Munta, and this is actually bringing up a point that I've made in the past and did an entire video on that was actually somewhat viral in the community. But when it comes to the idea of adding a generic BS or SS to the pity, I do think that this is something that has to happen at some point. I don't understand why Netmarble hasn't gotten around to it. It almost feels like they took that idea and bastardized it for this new system, for this new banner, which I'm not complaining about this new banner. I think it's an awesome system and one that I would love to see more of. However, I do think that if they did add the ability to get a generic BS or SS memory on the Unified banner, along with the pool of other characters that you chose for your raid up, at the end of that, it would definitely revitalize the Unified banner in a big way. The Unified banner is in a very bad position recently in the past 8-9 months, mainly because one, they do lack a lot of new characters being added there in a timely manner, and then when they do add characters to it, they are a far cry from what we have expected to see from limited banner characters. So I do think that there are definitely ways that they could revitalize the Unified banner. This is of course one of them, but another way that they could do it is they could just release a good character, like a novel concept, right? But at the same time, well, how did everybody react when Mr. Karate came out, right? Mr. Karate was an incredible character and is still incredible to this day. So if they wanted to, they could easily make it worth our while and get us to pull on that Unified banner because there is value there. The problem is they don't want to release anything that is necessarily worth our rubies, and that is the bigger issue. So I don't know if at this point internally they've looked at something and determined that they don't want to release a lot of top tier characters on the Unified banner because they know that people have been hoarding tokens. That could be something, I don't know. But at the same time, I do think there are more than one way to skin this cat, and at the end of the day, there's plenty of different options out there. It just comes down to the fact of the matter that you got to determine whether or not Netmarble is interested in that one way or the other. Have they completely shifted to limited banners at this point, or is the Unified banner even on their radar? Those are the bigger questions, and none of us have those answers. But thank you for the comment, Captain Munta. Great points, and I appreciate you. And this next comment comes our way from Discord from Yashiro Nanakase, who asks, hey, the big review, question for Q&A. What's your guess of the next BS banner? Will there be BS Volume 4? So, to answer the second part first, of course, I think there will be another volume of the Boss Syndrome banners. The bigger question is who's going to be on it. I don't really have any really good guesses at this point because this is a giant mystery. Now, of course, the last couple of banners have been a lot easier to guess. This one, however, is a giant question mark to me. At this point, the best thing that I can throw out there as far as a guess would be that we will see BS Gonits with this next one. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, so take it with a grain of salt. That's just a guess, but that would be my assumption just based on prior history as well as just the community feedback. I know that that is probably the most requested boss syndrome character at this point, so it would make sense if Netmarble wanted to roll that one out there sooner rather than later. However, it's really up in the air at this point. That's my best guess. I'll probably do a video closer to the next release of the next limited banner trying to guess what's going to be in the update, so stay tuned for that one. But that is my best guess as of today, and thank you for the comment, Yashiro. I appreciate it. And this next comment comes our way from Beam Screen All-Star, who says, you were saying that you were going to play Absolute War with extra rubies, so can you tell me your current fame level on Yellow Element? My guess is 16. So this is actually something I haven't updated you guys on, so let's go ahead and do that now. So as you guys can see on screen right now, while I have been spreading the love quite a bit across all the different colors, the reason why I've been doing this is because the fame system in general, one of the reasons I love it so much is it makes unified banner characters so much better whenever you have these buffs built up in any considerable way. However, I would be lying if I didn't mention the fact that I also wanted to spread the love on this because you get 100 rubies each time you get a stat up to 10. So yeah, I kind of wanted those rubies as well. But when it comes to this, really when it comes to Absolute War, I farm the heck out of this thing every day. I think I do between 15 and 20 battles a day at this point. And the only way that I would be able to do that reliably without wasting rubies and potentially getting KO'd with some of these lesser characters is by building up my fame in all of these different colors. So the reason why I did this is actually to help me continue to farm better. So basically I'm usually in the top 50 in Absolute War rankings each and every week. And the way that I do that is just by using everybody that I have built up to Awakening level 4 or 5. So what I did is I went ahead and I built up my attack and penetration first, and I did focus on yellow at the beginning, and I am focusing on yellow now as I continue to build that one up, just because I have so many top tier uber yellow characters in the game right now that I can use. But at the same time, you may decide that you want to focus on a different color. That's up to you. That's just my preference. But basically I wanted to build these fame buffs up as best I could so that I could continue to use those unified banner characters in Absolute War against the meta, which at this point the meta is going to be boss syndrome characters, SS characters, and dead or alive characters, which can make it very tough for a unified banner character to survive against. So that is why I did that. So basically it's okay to go for other stats outside of attack and penetration if you want to, like your HP and your defense, because it is going to help bump your overall CP. However, I would focus more on attack and penetration at the beginning, and then you can kind of move on to those other stats. That's just the way I approached it. I don't know that there's necessarily a right or a wrong way of doing this at this point. That's just the way that I choose to do it, but that's what I've got going on right now. I am working on building yellow up to, I'm hoping to get my attack and penetration up to 15 in the next week or so, if I can, and then I'll go ahead and start doing it on other stats for other colors. But for now, I'm focusing on yellow because, again, characters such as Kyo exist, and then of course we also have plenty of other yellow options out there like SS Honoka, BS Chrysalid, so on and so forth. So a lot of different reasons as to why I chose yellow first, but that is just my personal preference. You guys can do that with that what you will. But thank you for this comment, Beam Screen. I appreciate it as always. And that is going to bring us to the end of this week's weekly subscriber Q&A. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Again, thank you and big shout out to everybody who did leave comments in the comment section this week. I appreciate each and every single one of you. For those of you who are not in the Discord, link will be in the description. You can hop on over there. We have a ton of veteran players that are always willing to help there, so if you have questions or you need help with something, make sure you check that out. But otherwise, if you want to be featured in next week's weekly subscriber Q&A, you know what to do. Just go ahead and leave a comment or a question in the comment section of any of my videos. I try to get around to each and every single one of them and read through those. So if it's something that I think is worth mentioning here on the Q&A, you might get chosen. But anyway, you guys, as always, if you're new here to the channel and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe as always. I will be back with tomorrow's video, but until then, good luck on your farming. Hopefully your AP pots don't completely burn to the ground, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Continue.